Hello, my friends. Harold here. Have you ever felt that fatigue you just can't explain? Or that stiffness in your joints in the morning, like they need a bit of oil just to get going? We often just shrug and blame it on two simple words: old age. It's the easiest thing to do. But what if I told you that isn't the whisper of time, but a silent cry for help from your own damaged arteries? What if it's one of the earliest heart attack warning signs that we're all overlooking? This truth might make you reconsider. Medical science calls it by a very precise name: silent inflammation. It isn't a blazing fire that you can immediately see or feel. No. It's like smoldering embers, burning quietly inside your body, day after day, hardening and damaging the delicate lining of your arteries. It is the root cause that makes managing high blood pressure more difficult, and it's the very first step in the formation of dangerous plaque. According to the American Heart Association, this smoldering fire is linked to nearly 75% of all cardiovascular events. That's an alarming figure. It's the hidden enemy that makes all our efforts for stroke prevention meaningless if it isn't dealt with at the source. Now, before we begin this journey of unmasking the culprits behind this fire, if you are also on the path to understanding your senior heart health, please give this video a like so I know I'm not alone on this journey. And don't hesitate to tell me where you're watching from in the comments, so our Live Healthy with Harold community can feel a little closer. Do you know what the most frightening part is? We are unknowingly adding fuel to that fire every single day, because of 3 saboteurs cleverly disguised in our very own kitchens. They are labeled healthy, low-fat, all-natural, but the truth is entirely different. And I must warn you, the last and most dangerous culprit. A cooking oil that millions of families are using because they believe the heart healthy label will be revealed by me at the end of this video. It truly startled an old man like me when I found out. Now, let's begin with my own story, the story of the day I realized I was personally feeding the enemy inside my own home. You know, sometimes to understand the present, we must be brave enough to look back at the past. 10 years ago, I wasn't sitting here with this sense of peace. 10 years ago, I was a typical cardiovascular patient, confused, a little bit scared, and completely dependent on the pills prescribed to me each morning. My doctor, a very good man, patted me on the shoulder and said something I'll never forget: "Harold, your problem is systemic inflammation." Inflammation? I'll be honest with you, back then, inflammation to me was what happened when you accidentally cut your finger. It would get red and swollen for a few days, and then it would heal. How could a 70-year-old man have inflammation in his entire body? That's what I thought. And I believe many of us think the same way. I went home with a new bag of pills and an even bigger sense of confusion. I took my medication diligently, without fail. I was even proud of being a model patient. But my body told a different story. That uninvited fatigue that arrived at 3 p.m. was still there. My blood pressure was like a child on a playground slide, going up and down erratically. And worst of all was my sleep. I would toss and turn, my mind racing with baseless worries about my health. Have any of you ever felt as lost as I did back then? Feeling like you're doing everything the doctor told you, yet your health still isn't improving? If you have, please comment with the number 1 to let me know. If you've been fortunate enough not to have gone through that, please comment with the number 2. I truly want to listen to the stories of our community. My career as a history teacher gave me a valuable trait: patience and the habit of getting to the root of a problem. I could no longer accept the answer, "It's because of your age." So, I began my journey. I read a lot. Not like a patient searching for symptoms online only to become more frightened, but like a historian, trying to piece together fragments of the past to understand the whole picture. And then, one day, I found a metaphor that changed everything. It said, "Your body is a garden. Illnesses are the sick branches and leaves. Medications, like a gardener, can trim those leaves away. That's very necessary. But they cannot change the quality of the soil. Do you see what I mean? It is what we eat every day that is the soil, the water, the very source of nutrition that determines whether that garden flourishes from its roots. It was a revelation. I realized I had been so focused on trimming the sick leaves that I had forgotten I was watering the soil of my body every single day with toxic water. That's when I started looking at my kitchen with entirely different eyes. It was no longer a place to fill my stomach, but a laboratory for my health. And the first thing I did was to identify the toxic waters I had been unintentionally feeding my garden for so long. The things I believed were good and wholesome, but turned out to be silent saboteurs. And the first saboteur, also the most common and the sweetest one, is hiding in many of our breakfast foods. Let's, right now, unmask this sweet assassin together. Now, let's do a little experiment together. Just an experiment in your mind, nothing complicated is needed. Try closing your eyes for a moment and picture the healthiest breakfast you often see on TV or in health magazines. Is it a golden brown slice of toast, a bowl of crispy cereal with milk, and a gleaming glass of orange juice? It looks delicious. It looks healthy. It promises a new day full of energy. But my friends, hidden within that beautiful picture is the first and most common saboteur of our senior heart health. That saboteur isn't the bread, nor the cereal. It's what's hidden inside them. It is sugar and what we call empty carbs. They are sweet assassins. Why do I call them that? Because they give us a very quick, artificial energy boost. You eat them and you feel alert almost instantly. But just an hour or two later, when your blood sugar crashes, it leaves you feeling even worse, more tired, mentally foggy, and craving something sweet all over again. This vicious cycle is the very cause of that 3 p.m. fatigue I mentioned. But that damage is only on the surface. The most frightening part happens on the inside, where we cannot see. Imagine sugar as tiny shards of glass, floating through your bloodstream and constantly scratching the delicate, precious lining inside your arteries. Those scratches are the beginning of silent inflammation. They create wounds that allow bad cholesterol to stick, accumulate, and gradually form atherosclerotic plaques. And here's the worst part, it's hiding everywhere. Not just in sweets and cakes, but in places we'd never expect, a slice of white bread, canned fruit juice, ketchup, and even in many yogurts advertised as being good for digestion. Be honest with me. What did you have for breakfast today? Please let me know in the comments below. Type 1 if it was bread, pasta, or cereal. Type 2 if it was eggs, sweet potatoes, or oatmeal. And type 3 if you skipped breakfast. There are no wrong answers. I'm just genuinely curious about our community's habits. But not all carbohydrates are villains. Not at all. We just need to choose the right friends for our bodies. Instead of empty carbs that burn as fast as a piece of paper, let's turn to slow carbs, the steady and reliable companions. Think of whole-rolled oats, brown rice, sweet potatoes, and legumes. They release energy slowly, like an oak log smoldering in the fireplace, keeping us warm and full throughout the morning, instead of flaring up and burning out. The American Heart Association also emphasizes that controlling added sugar, under 9 teaspoons a day for men and 6 for women, is one of the most critical steps for stroke prevention and other cardiovascular diseases. Starting by swapping a slice of white bread for a slice of whole grain bread, or replacing a glass of juice with a whole orange. These are small steps, but they are the most powerful steps on the journey to protecting your heart. But sugar doesn't act alone. It has a close ally, a type of nut that many of us eat daily, thinking it's good for us. Let's investigate this second saboteur together. In the spy stories I used to read, the most dangerous character was never the known enemy. No. The most dangerous character was always the double agent, someone who infiltrates your ranks, earns your trust, only to silently sabotage you from within. Did you know that right in our kitchens, there are double agents just like that? We trust them. We think they are allies for a healthy heart. But in reality, they are serving another enemy, an invisible one called chronic inflammation. Let me explain this with an image that took me a very long time to fully grasp. Think of our bodies as a grand symphony orchestra. In that symphony, omega-3 is the sound of the violins and cellos, soothing, melodic. It's the melody of healing, of peace, helping to calm aching joints and keeping our minds clear. In contrast, omega-6 is the sound of the drums and brass. They are also necessary to create powerful responses when needed. But here is the problem. Do you ever feel that even though you take your blood pressure medication diligently, your numbers still dance around erratically? Do you ever feel the joints in your fingers stiffen in the morning, even after a good night's sleep? Or that brain fog that makes you walk from one room to another and forget what you were looking for? That is the sound of a symphony that is completely out of balance. It's when the roar of the drums and brass, omega-6, drowns out everything else, leaving the healing violins, omega-3, feeling lost and faint. That deafening chaos is the silent inflammation that is ravaging our bodies every single day. And the two most prominent double agents that are adding more drums and brass to our orchestra every day are peanuts and cashews. We eat them thinking they are rich in protein and good fats. Yes, they are. But they carry a dangerously high ratio of omega-6. Every handful of fragrant roasted peanuts we eat is a silent invitation for more chaos, for joint pain to worsen, for our artery walls to become more rigid. And that's not even mentioning the other secrets they hide, the risk of aflatoxin from mold in peanuts, or the oxalate compounds in cashews, a sneaky thief that steals calcium from our very bones, which are already growing weaker. I want to ask you honestly, which agent is currently present in your kitchen? Type 1 if it's peanuts, Type 2 if it's cashews, and Type 3 if you have both. Let's see who in our community needs to make a personnel change in their kitchen. So, what do we do now? Throw them all away? No. A good spymaster doesn't act that way. What we need are brilliant conductors. Would you like to know which foods can act as a conductor, signaling the omega-6 drums to play softer, and raising the volume of the healing omega-3 violins? There are true superheroes in the world of nuts that can quell this chaos and bring peace to your body's symphony. And I will reveal the list of these champions at the end of the video. Those are the names you will want to remember. But before we meet the heroes, we must face the final villain, the most dangerous one of all. It's not a nut, but a liquid we use every day. A cooking oil whose betrayal is far more sophisticated. Do you remember the story of the Trojan horse? A magnificent, giant gift, offered as a symbol of peace. But hidden behind that grand exterior was an entire army, waiting to destroy the city from within. For decades, the food industry has offered us a Trojan horse of their own. It stands there, right in our kitchens. A gleaming, golden bottle of oil, labeled heart-healthy, 0% cholesterol. We welcomed it. We used it to fry meals for our families. We believed in its promise. But today, you and I, we will open the secret door of that wooden horse together and look directly at the truth. This final and most sophisticated saboteur is refined vegetable oils. Listen closely to these names: soybean oil, corn oil, sunflower oil, canola oil. They sound very familiar, don't they? The most painful part is this: the soybeans or corn kernels themselves are not the villains. The crime lies in the process by which they are turned into oil. To achieve that clear, golden color, they must pass through an industrial hell, pressed under extreme heat, bleached with chemicals, and deodorized to mask the stench of oxidation. That brutal process destroys everything good and transforms something natural into a powerfully inflammatory liquid. It throws the omega-6 versus omega-3 ratio terrifyingly out of balance. It is gasoline poured onto the fire of silent inflammation burning in our bodies. It makes our high blood pressure more stubborn. It is one of the hidden culprits behind the heart attack warning signs that we are completely unaware of. And I want to say this, from the heart of someone who once trusted just like you: it is not our fault. We were led to believe that this was the healthy choice. Now, do a simple thing for me. No need to comment just yet. Just pause the video for a moment, walk into your kitchen, and look at the main cooking oil your family uses. Read the label for yourself. Are you done checking? Now come back and let me know. Type 1 if it's one of the oils I just mentioned, soybean, corn, canola. Type 2 if it's a different kind of oil. This self-awareness is the first and most important step. So the Greek army is out of the wooden horse. What do we do to protect our city? The answer, thankfully, is very simple. We choose oils that are true allies. Hero number 1 is extra virgin olive oil. This isn't just a cooking oil, this is liquid gold for the heart. It's rich in antioxidant polyphenol, which have powerful anti-inflammatory effects. Use it for salad dressings, to drizzle over cooked foods. It's like a firefighter, extinguishing the embers of inflammation. And when you need to cook at high temperatures, turn to more heat-stable friends like avocado oil or coconut oil. Changing your cooking oil is even more important than taking a supplement pill. Because this is something we use daily. It determines whether the environment inside our body is one of healing or one of destruction. Exposing the saboteurs is only half the battle. The other half, the more important half, is rebuilding our army of protectors, so that no Trojan horse can ever get inside again. We've talked about what to avoid. Now, let's move to the most exciting part, what we should eat. I will show you the real superheroes, the foods that have the power to naturally clean your arteries. Let's discover them together. The storm has passed, my friends. We have walked through the darkness together, unmasking the saboteurs disguised as friends. Troy may have been taken, but the war is not over. Now is the time for my favorite part. Not tearing down, but building up. It is time for us to call in the professional cleanup crew, the brilliant architects, to repair the damage and rebuild the fortress of our senior heart health, making it stronger than before. These are the true heroes of the food world. Let us welcome them. Do you remember the story of the chaotic symphony I told you about? When the omega-6 drums were too loud? Well, our first hero is the brilliant conductor who can restore order. And that is the walnut. This nut, shaped like a miniature brain, is the brain for our hearts. It is the champion of omega-3 in the world of nuts. When you eat a small handful of walnuts each day, it's like the conductor raising his baton, signaling the omega-6 drums to play softer, and asking the omega-3 violins to bring forth their soothing, healing melody. It directly extinguishes the fire of silent inflammation, making our blood vessel walls soft and flexible again. Consider walnuts a daily gift you give to your heart and your brain. Alongside them, fatty fish like salmon and herring are also excellent violinists in this orchestra. Next, we need a special task force to clean up the scene left behind by the saboteurs. Do you remember those shards of sugar scratching our arteries? Well, that cleanup crew is berries. Think of the deep blue of blueberries, the vibrant red of strawberries, and the black of blackberries. Each color represents a different type of antioxidant, called flavonoids. They are like diligent workers, traveling along the artery walls, cleaning up debris, repairing the scratches, and making our highway system smooth and clean. A bowl of oatmeal with a few berries in the morning isn't just delicious, it's one of the most powerful and natural ways to clean your arteries. Among these berries, which one is your favorite? Type 1 for strawberries, and 2 for blueberries. As for me, I like them both. And our final hero is perhaps the quietest, but most important one. We all know calcium is good for bones, but it can become dangerous if it gets lost and deposits in our arteries, causing calcification. This is when we need a traffic cop. And that officer is vitamin K2, found abundantly in dark leafy greens. Vitamin K2 performs a crucial mission. It stands at the intersections of the body and directs calcium. It doesn't allow calcium to wander into the artery walls, but instead signals it to go straight to where it's needed most, our skeleton. A bowl of spinach soup, a side of steamed kale, that isn't just fiber. That is you, hiring a diligent police officer to ensure traffic safety for your entire vascular system. Walnuts, berries, leafy greens. Wonderful, isn't it? We have powerful tools in our hands to be the architects of our health. But I know, after hearing so much information, remembering it all and putting it into practice can be a bit overwhelming. What should I eat today? What do I cook tomorrow? Do not worry. Because you have patiently walked with me this far, I have prepared a special gift for you. A clear map, so that you will never be lost on this journey again. Let's move on to the final part together. When I was a teacher, I always told my students, knowledge only truly becomes power when it is applied. Throughout this journey, we have discovered so much knowledge together. We have unmasked the saboteurs and welcomed the heroes. And now, it is time to turn all of that into simple action, into a clear path that any one of us can walk, starting tomorrow. I know that changing habits is never easy, especially for us older folks. That is why, so that you don't have to stumble around in the dark as I once did, I spent all of last week preparing something special. I call it, Harold's 7-Day Plan for a Peaceful Heart. It's not a thick, theoretical book. No. It's a very simple PDF, just a few pages long. In it, you will find clear suggestions for each day, what to eat for breakfast, what to cook for lunch, what foods to have for dinner, all to optimize the power of the heroes we talked about, and to completely remove the saboteurs. This is a gift from my heart, for our Live Healthy with Harold community. It is completely free. You just need to look in the description right below this video, and you will find a link to download it. If you have any trouble, please ask your children or grandchildren for help, it only takes a minute. The journey to protect your heart isn't a sprint, it's a long, steady walk. Let's walk it together, one step at a time. If this video has brought you even just a little bit of hope or one useful piece of information, please let me know by typing the word healthy in the comments. Every comment from you is a great source of encouragement for me to continue making videos like this one. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell, so we don't miss each other on our next journeys. From the bottom of my heart, I'm Harold. Thank you for your trust. I wish you a peaceful heart.